If LAYNE Norton truly believes that calories don't matter on the carnivore diet and you could just eat as many calories as you want, and as long as it's all meat and you're not consuming any carbohydrates, it's impossible to put on any fat, then LAYNE Norton is a complete idiot and he shouldn't be giving nutrition advice to anybody. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another Sunday Q&A. Steven here with TV Fork, and today's question is actually a question that I have for you guys. And the question that I have for you guys today is, why is it that calories in versus calories out does not apply to the carnivore diet? For absolutely every single diet, it all comes down to calories in versus calories out when it comes to fat loss, but for some reason, calories in, calories out does not apply whatsoever to the carnivore diet. So what exactly is your explanation? Now, the reason that I'm making this video is because earlier this week, I was on the World Carnivore Tribe group on Facebook, and a member was asking about weight loss. They were having trouble losing weight despite being on the carnivore diet, and the first 4 comments were all, calories are irrelevant, don't bother counting calories, all you have to do is eat until you're satiated, calories don't matter, and blah, 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 blah. And this absolutely drives me nuts because that's not very, very good advice. So I ended up making a separate post, and in the post I ended up writing, if someone has a leptin deficiency, telling them to eat until you're satisfied is terrible advice. Now, with regard to this, I want to briefly explain what exactly a leptin deficiency is. Leptin is basically the hormone that helps you regulate your hunger. You have leptin and ghrelin. When your body secretes ghrelin, you're going to get very, very hungry and you're going to want to crave high calorie dense foods, and it's also been linked to poor decision making. And then when you are full, when your stomach expands, your body's going to secrete the hormone leptin. Leptin is what tells you you're full to stop eating. The problem is that some people have a leptin deficiency, and when you have a leptin deficiency, this is something that is very rare, but it is a condition, and it is your LEPR gene that is affected. You have some specific mutation in that gene that does not allow you to properly regulate your hunger. So if you do have leptin deficiency, telling somebody with leptin deficiency just don't eat or eat until you're satiated is going to be terrible advice, because they're not going to know when they are satiated because their body is not producing that hormone. And sure enough, a bunch of people ended up commenting, and a bunch of idiots made complete nonsensical claims or nonsensical arguments. The first one, idiot number 1, said, all 20 of them are gods. Don't tell the rest of us to eat until full. First of all, that's a straw man argument. I'm not saying don't tell people to eat until they're satiated. My post specifically mentioned if somebody has a leptin deficiency, telling them to eat until they're satiated is terrible advice. I'm not saying it's terrible advice for the entire population. So first of all, straw man argument. Second of all, the link that you posted, this idiot ended up posting a study that he didn't even read, and I'm sure he probably doesn't even comprehend it, even if he was able to read the study. And what is the study? Let's go take a look. Congenital leptin deficiency, diagnosis and effects of leptin replacement therapy. And in the study, it mentions how there are 20 people globally who happen to have a leptin deficiency. Only the study is specifically stating that with regard to congenital leptin deficiency. That's not the only form of leptin deficiency. So first of all, you are not bringing up a valid point to the argument that I made. Second of all, I don't think you read the study. Third, with regard to leptin deficiency, there's congenital, which is inherited. That's a gene mutation in your LEPR gene. Second, that's not the only form of leptin deficiency. You could also have leptin insufficiency. You could have leptin resistance. So if somebody has leptin resistance, that's actually quite common. So it's not as rare as only 20 people globally. The other thing is the study that you're posting is over a decade old, and leptin deficiency has not been very well understood in the past, and it often went very, very underdiagnosed. So rather than posting that one study that's over a decade old, maybe you should have looked into some newer research, because according to a new research that came out last year, this is from the European Journal of Endocrinology, leptin receptor deficiency, a systematic literature review on prevalence estimation based on population genetics. Then their conclusion is, this study shows that LEPR deficiency is more prevalent in Europe with 998 predicted patients versus the 21 that you claimed in your initial post, suggesting that leptin deficiency is underdiagnosed. An important cause for this could be lack of access to genetic testing. Another possible explanation is insufficient recognition, as only 1/3 of patients has pituitary hormone deficiencies. With novel, highly effective treatment emerging, diagnosing LEPR deficiency is more important than ever. So, completely irrelevant what you posted, and you straw man my argument, because I never said that you should tell globally to every single person, don't eat until you're satiated. I specifically said for people with a leptin deficiency. So you're an idiot. Let's go on to the next idiot. Idiot number 2. No, not really. It's a legit advice provided they eat right group of foods. Oh, so if I eat 10,000 calories of ribeye steak, it doesn't matter if it's 2,000 calories of ribeye steak. I'm going to get the exact same results. Does that make any sense whatsoever? No, it doesn't. If I eat 2,000 calories of ribeye steak, I'm going to be able to maintain my weight. If I eat 10,000 calories of ribeye steak, I'm going to be gaining a couple pounds of fat a week. Anyway, let's go on to idiot number 3. Idiot number 3 said, carnivore fat adaptation will quench the appetite eventually. Is there evidence of the claim that you made in real life? Is there evidence for your claim? I didn't make a claim. The only thing I said was if somebody has a leptin deficiency, telling them to eat until they're satiated is terrible advice. That was my claim. You're the ones that's actually making a legit claim saying that carnivore fat adaptation will quench the appetite eventually. Where is the source for your claim? Anyway, let's go on to idiot number 4. I had a leptin problem, and that advice worked perfectly. It was great advice. I lost 199 pounds eating way more calories on carnivore, is averaging over 6,000 calories a day, so N1 for me. First of all, the fact that you were able to lose 200 pounds on a carnivore diet doesn't prove anything. All it proves is that when you are that heavy, if you are 500-600 pounds, when you eliminate things like sugary sodas and all of those empty calories that you're consuming, it's going to be quite easy to lose weight without having to count. But as you get closer to your goal weight, you're not going to find that it's going to be as easy as it was in the beginning. So yes, you're 500 pounds and you lost 200 pounds. Congratulations. But when you get down to 300, getting down from 300 to 200 is going to be a completely different story. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you don't need to count calories because it's going to be quite easy if you follow something like the carnivore diet because you're eliminating so many empty calories like sugary sodas, and if you're consuming a dozen cans of pop a day, right there, that's going to contribute to about 4 or 5 pounds of fat loss every single week. But anyway, let's go on to a post that I made recently because this was driving me absolutely nuts. And I wanted to absolutely dismantle the argument that calories don't matter. So I ended up posting this just yesterday in the World Carnivore Tribe group on Facebook. And I stated, over 11 years meat-based, and I have a question. As stated, I've been meat-based for over 11 years. The reason I began eating this way was not for aesthetics, rather for health. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis back in 2010 and found that following a paleo/keto diet allowed me to get into remission. Over the course of the last 11 years, I mostly ate 2 meals a day, and I would basically eat meat with a handful of nuts for breakfast and meat with some type of vegetable for dinner. I experimented with the carnivore diet twice, once in January of 2013 and once in April of 2015. At the time, I had never heard of it, and I just knew that I felt better the less carbohydrates I consumed. So I wanted to see what would happen if I completely eliminated carbohydrates from my diet. Each time I did the experiment, it lasted for 2 months, and it was the best I had ever felt since being diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. The only reason I reintroduced vegetables was because I was unsure of how healthy it would be to sustain this type of eating for the rest of my life. Then, on March 1st, 2020, I went back to strict carnivore and not consumed any carbohydrate aside from those naturally found in animal products since. In those 11 years, I never counted calories, and my weight and body composition remained fairly consistent. I would always hover between 152 and 157 pounds and be at roughly 8% body fat. The only time I was ever heavier than that was when I was intentionally trying to put on more muscle. I got up to 177 pounds lean, but I noticed that when I started getting into the mid to high 160s, my digestion wasn't optimal. My endurance would suffer, and when I was 177 pounds, I would get winded just walking up the stairs. Because of this, I decided to lose the extra muscle and drop back down to the weight I am currently and have been for the majority of the last 11 years, which is between 152 to 157 pounds. I recently decided to do a 10-year transformation challenge, which you can see in the first picture. I'm going to include it right over here. My weight in both of the pictures was around 157 pounds, and as you can see, my body composition is fairly consistent as well, hovering around 8% body fat in each of the pictures. Again, this was all done without counting calories. Well, last year I decided to do an experiment. After seeing the numerous posts about how calories don't matter on the carnivore diet, or how you can't gain fat if you eliminate all carbohydrates, or that all you need to do is eat until you're satiated, I couldn't let it go, as I had seen many people on the carnivore diet still struggle with weight. So for the first time in over a decade, I decided to count the calories that I was consuming and see what would happen if I consumed a surplus of 3,000 calories per day. If you take a look at the second picture, in just 28 days, I managed to go from 152 pounds at roughly 8% body fat to 174 pounds at approximately 22 to 24% body fat. That's a 22-pound weight gain in just 28 days, with the majority of that weight being fat. As I stated, I was consuming roughly 3,000 calories more than I had been, and I had 0 carbohydrates during those 28 days. All I consumed, literally, was grass-finished beef, grass-fed butter, and ghee. I would cook with approximately 62.5 grams of grass-fed butter each day and consumed only grass-finished medium ground beef and grass-finished beef liver. I still stuck to eating 2 meals a day, and it should be noted that I was not force feeding in order to get all of those extra calories in. It was actually quite easy and quite enjoyable at first. It felt great for the first 2 weeks, but as my weight kept creeping up higher and higher, began to feel really slow and sluggish. The last 2 weeks of the experiment, my workouts were very labored, and the last week I was unable to complete a full workout. Whatever I had planned, I would usually only be able to get through about half the workout and would then quit because I was too tired and out of breath to continue training. Aside from my workout suffering, my bowel movements also suffered as I started getting a lot of loose stool, particularly once my weight reached the 165-pound mark. At the end of the 28-day experiment, I went back to eating the way I was prior, and it took quite a while to get back to my normal body weight and level of physical fitness. I don't think I completed a full workout for the first 6 to 8 weeks because I was so tired. I did it though, which you can see in the third picture. My weight eventually dropped back down to 157 pounds, and I'm currently hovering between 148 and 153 pounds at an estimated 8% body fat, so fairly consistent with what I've been weighing for the majority of the last 11 years with an almost identical body composition. My question is this: if you are the type of person who believes and tells others that calories don't matter on the carnivore diet, or how you can't gain fat if you eliminate all carbohydrates, or that all you need to do is eat until you're satiated, then how do you explain these results? Again, all of the weight gain during that 28-day period was from consuming only grass-finished beef and grass-fed butter, and I didn't have to force feed myself. The eating part was actually quite enjoyable. Regardless, I did not touch a carbohydrate, and I ate until I was satiated. The only thing I did differently was that I consumed an additional 3,000 calories. So again, if calories don't matter and it's impossible to gain fat if all you do is eat meat until you are satiated and completely eliminate carbohydrates from the diet, then how do you explain my 22-pound weight gain in 28 days? P.S. If you do plan on responding, answer the question I'm asking. I want to hear your scientific explanation as to how I could have possibly put on the weight if calories truly don't matter on the carnivore diet. I don't want to hear your personal experience because my own personal experience cancels out your personal experience, and I don't want you to attempt to straw man my argument. I'm not saying that people need to count calories, and I'm not saying that food quality and food choice isn't important. What I am saying is that while food quality and food choice is very important, calories still matter on the carnivore diet, and you can't just eat as much as you want without gaining fat weight. If you disagree, I would like to hear your scientific explanation as to why calories don't matter on the carnivore diet. PPS. If you respond by attempting to strawman my argument or answer a question that I never asked, I will automatically assume that you have no idea what the hell you're talking about, and I will reply back to you with, "You're an idiot and I never said that. Do you actually have a valid explanation, or are you just too stupid to articulate a valid counterargument?" Thank you for making it all the way to the end, and I look forward to hearing your explanation. So, do you have an explanation for me? How is it possible that I gained 22 pounds in 28 days, and most of that being fat, on a carnivore diet? What is the scientific explanation for it? Please, I would love to hear you. And if you are unable to give me an answer, then maybe I'll have to look for somebody else who can give me an answer. I don't know, maybe LAYNE NORTON can explain why. But if LAYNE NORTON truly believes that calories don't matter on the carnivore diet and you could just eat as many calories as you want, and as long as it's all meat and you're not consuming any carbohydrates, it's impossible to put on any fat, then LAYNE NORTON is a complete idiot and he shouldn't be giving nutrition advice to anybody. However, I don't think he believes that. I think he's going to side with me on this one. But if you're an idiot that believes that, then you definitely should not be giving nutrition advice to people in these groups. And also, if you are somebody who is in one of these carnivore tribe groups or the Carnivore Diet for Beginner group on Facebook, be very careful with who you listen to, because there are a lot of idiots in those groups who will tell you things that they have absolutely no qualifications to be telling you the stuff that they're telling you. If you have somebody that is 600 pounds and they lost 200 pounds without counting calories, congratulations. It's very easy to lose 200 pounds when you're 600 pounds. Once you actually get closer to your goal, it's going to be a lot harder, and you can't just eat whatever the hell you want. You can if what you're eating happens to be below the level of maintenance calories that are of your current weight. But if you're eating in a surplus or at maintenance, you're not going to be losing fat. Sorry to break it to you, but you can't break the law of thermodynamics even if you're following the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet, you still have to be in a calorie deficit if you want to lose fat. If it's not your main objective to lose fat, if all you do is care about optimizing your health, then calories, it's not really going to be too important. It's going to be more important about how you feel. So if you feel great, you're not counting, and everything's great, your energy levels are great, bowel movements are great, you don't have any issues with mental clarity, no GI distress, none of that type of stuff, you have no adverse symptoms, then keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to count. But if you are not counting and you are not losing weight and you're trying to lose weight and you're not feeling better and you're trying to feel better, then give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you are not going to see results, just like you're not seeing results right now. But it's still going to at least be worth it to give it a shot to see what happens. But that's basically my rant for today. That is all I wanted to get off my chest. If you guys have any comments, go ahead and drop your comments down in the comment section, because I would love to hear what you guys think about this. And if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and ask your questions down in the comment section, because I would love to be able to answer whatever questions you guys have. But aside from that, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to keep making these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.